Sorry, no, I don't know what you
Okay,
sound like.
guess we can get started on this interview. Can I ask you guys to be as quiet as possible? Because you know how these guys' voices are.
I want to be as loud as possible.
Okay, you have your questions or topics ready?
Yeah, I have my topics.
Okay, I wanted to do one last thing. Hold on, I think I got what is it? Is it
No
share
problem.
settings? What's going up, Raft? Going on, Raft? I just gotta up my audio volume so I'll be a tad bit louder. Okay. What's going on, man? That last live stream was temporary due to the fact I got my ass beat on that fighting game. Um, but I always do. That's why I still have the challenge for Kids Move, me versus him in Mortal Kombat 11. Okay, let's get started. You ready?
Alright, to start, I'm gonna ask you the same question I asked you on Twitter.
That's about anti-consumer.
Yeah, what do
Again,
you think about people saying,
that's their thoughts. If they believe it's anti-consumer, I don't believe I can change their minds. It wastes too much of my energy and time to try to convert someone into thinking the way I want to. So it's kind of
uh,
pointless.
I just want to know your thoughts, not like trying to convert somebody, but like, what are your thoughts on the subject?
On exclusives,
Yes.
I think they're necessary to drive anything, not just video games. Um, just to literally drive the attention from one competitor to another. So I can't do FaceTime because I've always had an Android phone, but I've never saw that type of outrage like I have saw last year, the year before, and in 2016. Uh, when it comes to the PC community, believing that having exclusive games is anti-consumer for Sony. But no one is saying Apple is anti-consumer for only having FaceTime. So, do you believe Sony is being anti-consumer even though everybody else has exclusives? Like Nintendo with Super Mario, Zelda, Donkey Kong, Kirby, Metroid, Fire Emblem, Smash Brothers. I can name a whole bunch of exclusives Nintendo specifically has for their platforms that will never go anywhere. So, do you believe that Nintendo is also being anti-consumer by having exclusives exist on their platform at all?
Personally, yeah, I think that, well, I would love if every game was on every platform so that the most people could enjoy it. But I don't think, I think that everybody is kind of being a little bit of anti-consumer.
And why do you think exclusives are anti-consumer if the company owns the developer? Oh, sorry, they own the developer, they own the studio, they own the rights to the game, and they publish the game themselves. It's their works of art. They get to decide where they want it to be.
Yeah, I think it's perfectly within their right. It's just it'd be great if everybody could enjoy such a great game, you know.
I just want to ask you questions. Why, from 2016 to 2019, is companies being labeled anti-consumer by not allowing their games on other platforms? I've been gaming since the 90s, and I've never heard this before of the four different generations I was a part of. So, N64, GameCube, PS2, PS1, PS3, the Wii U, Wii, Xbox 360, original Xbox, Xbox. I think, well, they only were a part of three generations. But long story short, I only heard it this generation. Even with the Dreamcast and Sega Genesis, or the Sega Master System, I don't think I've ever heard this in the discussions from any fanboys or gamers of a company being anti-consumer because they don't allow their games on another platform. I think all gamers, the gaming industry as well as all critics and reviewers and journalists, for all these generations of gaming, they've understood the importance of having an exclusive. So it drives the system, and without an exclusive, there's pretty much no point for you bringing out any hardware because there's no way to actually move it. If all the games belong on other platforms, what makes your system special?
I think that segues well into our next point. What do you think about Sony's active attempts to block crossplay from other platforms?
Again, that's their decision. Again, we go to last generation. We go to the first half of this generation where crossplay didn't even exist. Nobody was bitching about it. Nobody was whining about it. Nobody was begging for it. It's a feature.
The problem back then was back in that time was the technology for it was simply starting, and it was hard to do.
Online gaming has been out since the PS2. Last generation was PS3. This is the PS4 generation. I don't really buy that. Again,
No.
If you're going to talk about Sony doing crossplay, you have to make sure that every developer wants to do it. There are major AAA mainstream developers that are not doing it. They're third party as well. We're talking about Activision with Call of Duty. They're not up in arms and bitching at Sony about not doing crossplay. If Activision, if EA, and other big name developers that drive the focus of everybody's system with their content, if they were out there telling Sony, hey, we're not going to put our games on your platform anymore if you don't allow crossplay, I'm pretty sure Sony would just suck it in and do crossplay. But you're acting like crossplay doesn't exist on PlayStation. Crossplay has existed on PlayStation since the PS2 generation, between PS2, PC, and Xbox 360 had a cross-play game, Final Fantasy XI, which was an MMORPG. But again, everybody says that Sony does not allow cross-play. Sony allowed cross-play between the PS3, PC, and PS4 with Final Fantasy XIV. Again, we've had PC cross-play between games like Rocket League when it first came out, and many other titles. So again, it is crossplay. It does exist. So,
do you think Sony is missing out by not doing crossplay with Xbox and Nintendo?
Who's the highest selling gaming console on the market?
Currently, I think the Nintendo Switch is selling the fastest.
The highest selling gaming console on the market.
Dipshit.
Oh, that'd be the Wii.
I said on the market this generation. We're talking about a relevant gaming console of this generation. The PS4, last time we checked, sitting somewhere at 92, 91 million. That was in the very beginning.
The last statistics I could find on that were from about 2016, so I can't confirm that.
You need help? I have links.
Go on, Bennett.
Would you like me to provide you with information so you could change your stance on that?
Yeah, please, go ahead.
You can't be serious, Jay. Why are you even...
PS4 sold 91 million. PS4 sold... Oh, they're not going to allow me to do it. Fuck it. Can't use my voice. Sold... So this dude says that Sony didn't sell 91 million because...
Switch is the fastest selling console. It's like
no, but I'm just saying, he does not want to admit that the PS4 is at 91 million because he does not have the information. That's why he went from
Switch to Wii U. That's why he literally pivoted from two things.
Sold the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One in January.
It's also in the sense that Switch, yes, it sold faster, but only in the sense of when that fucking console came out. It didn't sell faster when the PS4 was out. If they were both lined up, PS4 will be the fastest selling console, not Switch. It's all based on timing, so you don't even fucking accumulate that shit. No one even cares about the fastest selling console when it comes out. It's fucking retarded, isn't it? It's like Avengers Endgame. Of course, this ticket's gonna sell really fucking fast because it's Avengers. But does that mean it's gonna be a good film? No. Yeah, no. We're just this JayTech's debating this kid about some stuff, but kid comes out and says the Switch is the fastest selling console. It's like when it came out, yes, but no one cares about that. We're talking about the fastest selling, the best selling console of this generation. It's PS4 with 91 million, 92 million for what we know, but it's probably near like at least 100 mil by this point. That was way back last year. Stupid, though, man. I mean, that's what I mean. That's why we went to Wii U and shit like that. It's like, no, this generation. Well, yeah. See, when it comes to Nintendo, right? Every time Nintendo have released a console, they've never really released a console within, let's just say, the 5-month span of a console. They always do a year or maybe 2 after it, because then at that point, a new thing would be something people would want. In this sense, Switch did
What's
that.
going on, Adam? I've been hearing you in my ear.
No, I'm just saying what this kid's saying about the Switch being the fast-selling console, and I'm just saying the reason why it's a fast-selling console is because Nintendo rarely puts themselves in the months.
You said the Nintendo Switch is the fastest selling console.
Yeah, it outsold the PS4 in January. I just looked it up.
So, can you name a year where the Nintendo Switch sold 20 million in 1 year? One physical year?
Oh, easy. Last year.
Nintendo did not sell 20 million in the entire year from January to December. Because Nintendo is just now getting towards 40 million. They came out in an odd month. They did not come out in January. They came out in an odd month.
Thank you.
In March.
When did
So
Nintendo come out, though?
I'm trying to figure out, do you have any facts providing
Was it 2017?
That the Nintendo Switch actually sold 20 million in 1 year? Now, they're a new platform and they're selling very fast, but they haven't sold 20 million in a year yet. They're selling under that.
In 2019, they sold estimated 20 million.
Do you have any facts? Estimated is not sold.
Yeah.
That's estimated. Yeah, exactly. That's not real.
Oh, sorry.
We're looking for sold numbers, not estimated, not shipped. We're looking for sold numbers.
Estimates. Fucking again, bro. Yeah, 2017. 3rd of March 2017. That's when the Switch came out.
Sorry,
So yeah, that's no way that. Yeah, there's no way. If it's only reached 40 million now, there's no way that sold 20 million in a year. Don't be ridiculous.
Okay, I'm sending you the information for.
You're retarded.
3 million in 2017.
What you say?
In 2017, its launch year, it sold 32.3.
It didn't sell that much. It sold that much by this time. It didn't sell 30-something million in the first couple months of it being out.
No, in the first year.
In the first year of it being out, it did not sell 30. I'm telling you the facts.
Yeah, it sold 32.
Do you have a link showing me that it sold 30 million in 1 year?
Yeah, I do.
Did you get my link of PS4 being at 91 million this year?
Yeah, I'm reading it right now. and also I thought I would state that my primary gaming console is actually the PS4.
That's cool with me.
Nintendo Switch has sold 10 million units in
This
under a
says
year.
91.6
Bullshit.
million units, but that says since it was introduced in 2013.
Exactly. That's lifetime sales.
Let me look up lifetime
Idiot.
sales for the Switch real quick.
If you're gonna tell me that the Nintendo Switch outsold the PS4, it must be at
I'm looking
least
at it right.
over
I'm looking at it
100
right now,
million.
bro.
Also, another thing to consider about that is the Switch has been out for less time.
I understand that, but you're telling me the Switch outsold the PS4. It can't outsell the PS4 if it has not outsold the PS4.
No, in that month, it outsold the PS4.
We understand about
It reached-
months. We're not
The
talking about
Switch
months
reached
now.
20
We're talking
million.
about
The Switch
years
reached
and the time that it has been
Is he
out.
debating?
almost
So
reached
you're
20
trying to
million
tell
last
me
year
that
in
the Nintendo
summer.
Switch sold 32 million in its first year of being out. I'm trying to see if you can provide me a link that I can look at. I provided you with one link. I can provide you with multiple links.
By the way, Nintendo Switch is forecast to sell 37 million in April. By April. That's another thing as well. So he knows he's fucking
There
lying.
you go. So far, it's at
Sold 10 million. It sold 10 million in the first year. Then last year in summer, it sold 20 million. That's where it got to. Summer last year.
Okay,
So there's no
Nintendo
way.
sold 9.41 million Switch consoles in the 3 months leading up to December of 2018, bringing the lifetime sales to 32.27 million. Again, lifetime sales, not the whole year. I'm trying to figure
Been up for
out
2
where
years.
in this whole information of this article did it say that it sold 32 million in 1 year. That makes
It says it's 14.4 million for the first 3 quarters, and the estimated for the end of the quarter is 17 million.
It's like 9 years old.
again.
Dude.
PS4 sold 20 million. You need some help? I can gladly
Great.
help you with articles.
I'm looking at the links right now
Yeah, no,
on
I saw
year
that.
by year
No,
sales.
I
It is
need to
not
help you with
selling the way it's
another
selling.
article. Because you're saying Nintendo Switch is the fastest selling console, but it has not achieved 20 million sales in one physical year between January and December of one whole year.
Fucking idiot, man.
It sold faster than the PS4.
Yes,
The PS4 had
but
sold
if it
more,
can't,
but
if
the
it can't
Switch sold
get,
faster.
if it can't get 20 million in 1 year, that means PS4 was always faster than it. The year that the Nintendo Switch came out, the PS4 sold 19 million. The Switch did not sell that.
Actually, your logic here saying that it would
Oh my God, I'm gonna
constantly
smack
sell
this
more
kid.
wouldn't make sense.
Sounds like
So
flipping
say
door.
they had like 6 years, the Switch has 3 years. If they just, for some reason, they didn't sell any in 1 year, that would be slower, even if the Switch hasn't outsold them yet.
So, again, has the Switch sold 20 million in 1 year while on the market with the PS4?
This says 19, or well, actually, the entire time the Switch has been out, it's been on market with PS4 because the PS4 came out first.
Again,
But,
has it sold 20 million?
It said. Sorry, let me just pull it up again. It was on my phone.
Answer the fucking question, dickhead. The thing is, right, if
Sorry,
Switch
my phone
came
just
out
glitched out. Give me a
a
second.
few months after PS4 and Xbox One, guarantee you that system ain't gonna sell.
If he's
Shows
trying to say it
console
sold at a
graph.
faster rate, he's right
He
now,
said
but...
it, yeah, it sold at a faster rate, right? But the thing is, right, we're saying, did it sell more than the PlayStation in a year? Like, in a full year, did it sell more than the PlayStation 4? No, it didn't. And he's saying it did, and then we found out, no, it didn't. It sold 10 million in the first year.
It's not doing
Right,
the
in
pace
the
now, but not
second
at the
year-
beginning.
In the second year, it sold
I'm looking
up
up
at
Switch
second year
units,
last year
and,
in July 2018.
And
It
I gotta
sold
send
20
you this.
million.
Polygon has the PS4 linked with the Switch for some
This
reason, like
motherfucker's
the
just gonna
same
take it like he's a batting
article,
champion.
but it doesn't mention the Switch. It uses a Switch picture for the PS4. It's really weird.
And then, yeah, and it's like I just saw then. It said that
Alright, this one
the
says
Switch is
in
on track to reach
2017,
37
halfway
million
through
in
the year,
April
it sold 10 million.
this year. No. I know that's bullshit. That's bullshit.
Oh,
Again,
it sold,
I'm finding
it
thing
sold
is wrong.
19.67 in 1 year.
I never really get that when we talk about exclusives.
Do
People
you
want to bring up
have a
sales
link?
numbers.
Yeah, let me get it.
The first 3 years were definitely at a faster rate than the Switch.
Yeah.
And they got it in total, but lately, definitely no. But there's always a slowdown period. So I don't get what the question
Well,
is.
yeah, because it's at night. It's nearly. I don't know how many it's at right now. I mean, last time we saw it was 92. It's probably nearing. It's probably like around 97, 98 mil right now. So it's reaching that 100 mil. It will slow down at that point. When you're reaching the 100, right, Mark, that's where it's going to slow down. I mean, the PS2 sold, what, 120, 150 mil? Like,
Did
There's
you get
$100 more too at
did
the
you
same
get the
time.
article I just sent? I just sent the article on the.
It was 400 for a while too, and it still outdid it.
You know what I mean? I got the link on the live stream. It sold over 20 million in less than a year.
Okay.
So that means the Switch being at 32 million this year, meaning PS4 did what the Switch did in 1 whole year. There's no way the Switch sold 20 million in a year in sales.
The Switch?
They might have shipped that, but they didn't sell it. People are confusing sales or sold numbers with ship numbers. You can't compare the two.
Yo, watch the rate when they drop PS4 to 199. Watch how fast that's just gonna sell, yo. They still haven't done that.
Yeah.
The entire generation.
Well, how much is a Slim right now? Is it 250?
It's 300.
Is it 300? What, the Slim?
PS4? Yeah, it's 300.
Jesus, I thought it was less than that.
Nah, bro, that's what I'm saying. They're being stingy because it sold so well. Trying to make every last dollar on it.
Discord.
No, let me have a look on the.
I don't know. It might have been 199 for Spider-Man for like a month, if I remember.
Yeah,
One
they
of the
do
months. It was
deals.
November. Yeah. That shit, dude. It sold out like in 2 days. That Spider-Man 199 bundle.
Also,
Yeah, I know. What is that, the one with the red symbol on it?
Yup.
Yeah, see, I'm looking at one right now. A PlayStation 4 Slim over here is to pretty much £230.
Shut up.
Yeah, I know that. I'm just saying, like, so basically, like Son Sam's basically saying, right? Obviously, I mean,
Sold great in the UK.
if you down it to 200,
Basically,
then we
430.
then we would down it. We would probably down it to maybe 170, 150. I mean, it would probably 170 if you go to $200. Based on that logic. I mean, they should
Say
really.
one thing, though.
I think they got to do it this year or next year because then you know when you got the new systems coming out, right? You want to do it before
Well, we
that.
can continue to do this.
Alright. Did you get the link I sent you?
Yeah, I was wondering what happened with the link that I sent you. You said it's not working.
Yeah, for me the push square link, I'm clicking it and it says 502 broke.
I just sent another link from another website. I just wanted you to read that. Sold numbers are not the same as shipped. And as you can see in this article, PlayStation sold 19 in 1 year, and then the previous year it sold 20 million. That makes it at 40 million. The Switch has been out since when? 2000.
Since 2017.
Okay, so it's 2019 now. The Switch has been out all of 2018, and it's been out in 2017 since March. That means the Switch should be at 40 million sold, because the PS4 was able to sell almost 40 million within 2 years alone on the market. So I'm trying to figure out how you're going to tell me the Nintendo Switch sold faster than the PS4 when in previous years the PS4 sold more than the Switch can imagine to. Again, if the Switch is going to outsell the PS4, it literally needs to be at 20 million sold each year, or roughly at 19 million sold each year. So we're in April now, and the Switch came out in March. That means the Switch has been out for 2 years. So if you can't find an article of the Switch selling, sold numbers only, not shipped, if you have sold numbers of the Nintendo Switch being at 40 million after its second year anniversary, which was just last month, then I can believe you. But if not, you're telling me the Switch is selling at a higher rate per month, not per year. Per year matters, because at the end of the physical year, that's what people are celebrating.
I think it's 32. I have to look up the thing again.
If it's 32, then it's under the PS4. That means
Yeah.
each year that it was out, it could not stick with the PS4 selling 20 million a year, or roughly 20 million a year. Because the Switch is supposed to be at 40 million after its second year anniversary if it was actually outselling the PS4's lifetime sales, and it's not.
I didn't say outselling the lifetime sales. I said outselling that month. I never said that.
Well, month by month doesn't matter.
There's no way.
Month. It is a way. If the Switch is a better console, it's definitely a way. If it has content driving the sales, it's definitely a way to continue to sell every month of a year. If it has games that are driving people to buy it, but the Switch does not have games every month, sometimes it's very empty. Sometimes third-party developers don't put their games over there. Sometimes Nintendo doesn't have a hit exclusive for the platform. So of course, I've been telling you, I do not have a Switch for obvious reasons. Did I want to get a Switch at one point? Yes, I definitely did want to get a Switch at one point. But seeing as though the system is too weak for certain developers to put their games on so I could enjoy a game on the go, I don't see a point of me buying the Switch. Especially with rumors circulating that it's going to have a more advanced system, hopefully dropping this year, and it's going to be more powerful.
Oh, seriously?
Talker.
That's
my man right there. Talker.
Okay, we can move on to the next topic. I just want to be very clear to anybody listening, you included. The Switch has not outsold the PS4 lifetime sales. It is selling at a faster rate some months of 1 or 2 years, but not actually outselling the PS4 the entire year. Because if it was, it would actually be caught up with the Xbox One and outselling that system. But it has not done that yet. It's getting close, but it hasn't done it yet.
Do you know the Xbox numbers? Because I actually...
Last time we checked, it was somewhere in the late 30s or early 40s. So yes, the Nintendo Switch is getting up there. But I don't think it's going to be passing the PS4 since in the beginning of this year. Actually, at the end of last year, it was at 91 million. That means PS4, I predicted a couple months ago, the PS4 should be at 100 million anytime between the end of May or sometime in June.
Alright, so the next topic is, are you ready? Are you ready to move on?
Yeah, sure.
Alright, so what do you think about Nintendo and Microsoft teaming up and having, they're, porting games over to each other's consoles?
There's only one person doing that. The other one isn't. That's why I can honestly say Nintendo is just as anti-consumer as anybody putting that title on Sony. I haven't saw Mario on Xbox, and I have not saw Donkey Kong or Kirby or Metroid or Zelda. I have not saw any of their exclusives on the Xbox platform. I have saw a lot of Xbox games going to everybody else's platform. Halo is going to Steam. You have Cuphead going to Switch. But again, that's Microsoft giving other people their games. I don't see Nintendo giving anybody their games.
I have a question for you. Would you be happy if Halo came to the PS4?
I could care less. It's a bonus, but it's not the selling point. Halo is not why I buy a gaming console. Literally. If I really cared about Halo, I would have had an Xbox. Halo is not going to be a driving point for me to continue to enjoy games.
And then what do you think about Google Stadia? Do you think it could shake up the competition, or how is it going to do?
Nope.
For anybody that's in the bottom line trying to deal with streaming, so yeah, it could shake up Microsoft's competition with themselves, but I don't see it messing with Sony. Since even though Sony
Google
wasn't even
don't stick with
trying,
anything, man.
PlayStation
That shit's
Now
gonna last a
outsold
few
all
years.
the
It's
other
done.
streaming
They're
subscriptions.
just trying to
So
make money. I think they're gonna overtake Sony.
This dude, like, how many
Did
things have Google
PlayStation
tried
Now
to do
wait? PlayStation
and
Now, is
bust
that
out
the
of
one
it
that's
2
for
years
games or for
after?
movies?
So
PlayStation Now is
much,
the
man.
one is for games.
Alright, sorry, I forgot.
No, Google. Think about it in this way, right? Google Plus, Google Glass, short-term things that they've done,
What? Yeah,
but
Google
eventually
Stadia.
they go away from.
I think the main point with
I
that
don't even hate Google Glass,
is
to be
that
honest.
it's really opening up a new a new demographic of, like, say people who don't have the money to buy a PS4 or an Xbox. You know, they can just have it on
That
their
is bullshit.
laptop. You know, what do you think about that?
Fucking hate baseball.
The games that you might be referring to are basically multi-plat, so they're on everybody else's platforms anyway. It's just a different type of way you get to access them. So if you feel that you
And
want to
also they've got
access them
explosives as well. Don't forget.
wirelessly on the go, then
presumably
I
you will
guess
do.
you could do that, but I don't see it as, again, like the most exciting thing because everybody else is still going to have those types of games. Google Stadia has not announced a single exclusive contract for a game that's only on their service, similar to what we've been seeing for a long time now with Epic Games Store, which has been gobbling up a lot of games away from Steam with exclusive 6 months, 1 year, and a lifetime exclusive deals. So Google Stadia doesn't really have a driving force outside of it being very consumer friendly as far as giving you the freedom to choose a different method of playing games or purchasing games, which is a streaming service. But with that being said, if you're going to go out on a limb and try to support them, you should make sure you have a very, very good internet connection.
Do you think that all the consoles should cross-play with Stadia or no?
Demonetized.
Again, that's up to the
Picture
developers,
me,
the
I was doing a
main
tour.
AAA third-party developers, the ones that are putting the games out there to keep the industry going. It's up to them. It's if they believe in crossplay, then it'll happen. But enough of them just don't believe in it enough. You know, they just don't believe in
Are you
it
streaming
enough.
it? Oh, brilliant! I'll watch this shit.
What do you think about people asking for, say, Bloodborne on PC?
I think they've been asking for that game for what, 4 years now?
Something like that.
I tried to explain this to a friend of mine, holler at Eddie yesterday, and his friend. The way you can understand exclusives is very simple. If Sony owns the rights to the game, right, the copyrights to the game, that's one way that it will, stay exclusive. If they own the IP, right? Then, you know, there's probably not gonna ever go anywhere, right? If they own the developer and the developer that's making the IP that Sony also owns is a first party developer, you got 100% confirmation the game's definitely, again, never going anywhere. And also, if they're publishing the game, which is probably the second thing I should have went with, that is definitely not going to go anywhere. So a game like Detroit Become Human and Heavy Rain and Beyond Two Souls, those games from the developer known as Quantic Dreams, Sony didn't own the IPs. They published the games. They don't own the developer. They only publish the games. They did one thing out of 3. That means that game can go anywhere it wants to. Neo, the Japanese style Souls game that came out before Sekiro. Sony only published Neo in certain territories. They never own the rights to the game. They don't own the developer that made the game. So when the game went to other platforms, I don't think anybody was very surprised. they didn't do a lot of this type of stuff last gen because it was a lot of honor. It was a lot of it's just exclusive. But things change. I'm realizing that a lot more, and all I can tell you is that a game like Bloodborne, where Sony owns the publishing rights, they own the IP. It's not going to another platform, so I can have a lot of fun teasing the people begging for it, but I also know that it's not going over there.
By that question, I meant, do you personally, are you for or against it going to other platforms?
I'm against it.
Could you please share your reasons why?
Because exclusives are exclusives. And if you're gonna ask me, oh, should I be for the porting of exclusives from PlayStation, you should also be for the porting of exclusives from Nintendo's platforms. Nintendo literally would die without having exclusives to drive focus towards any gaming platform that they ever bring out. Sony, they would hurt a lot too. Because this is their main income as far as all their branches combined. This one right here, the gaming market, they're making tons of money out of this shit now. So if they put their games that drive the focus of buying hardware on other platforms, yeah, it would not benefit them. And it wouldn't benefit Nintendo.
Yeah, personally, I think I'm for like everybody getting to play games. I wasn't necessarily talking about for the company's well-being. I just meant, would you be like against other people getting to play these games? And I think since video games are like an art form, I think it would be the best if everybody could experience it.
What year did you start gaming?
I started gaming when I was 2 years old.
What year?
So you're like 7 now?
1990s, 1980s, 2000s. What
2000
year?
probably is.
Ask him what generation.
I think 2000s. 2000 like something.
Okay, 2000
2002, 2003, 2002, you sound like it.
2004, 2015, 2010.
It was in the 2000 before 210s.
Okay.
Dude, how old? Dude,
before 210, so let's say 2005, 2010. Anything?
2000, let's say 2005, but it sounds like it's 2005.
I think like 2008.
Okay, so you started gaming a few years into the PS3's life cycle and a good amount of years into the the Xbox 360's life cycle, right? So you started gaming, I guess you've been gaming for 2 generations. Most of everybody else has been gaming for 5 or 4 generations. So when
actually, when I was gaming back then, I was playing like Sega Genesis and the N64 then, and I kind of progressed through it before I started playing Xbox.
We're not talking about the retro gaming that you did. We're talking about the generation you began in. So.
Alright, yeah, then I think Generation 7, I think, is the right one.
Okay, we're talking about the generations from PlayStation 1 to PS4. You started during the PS3 generation.
Yeah.
Okay, so you came towards the tail end of this generation story, right? So long story short, there was a lot of exclusives going on last gen when you were gaming. Microsoft was buying exclusive contracts left and right to prevent it on being PS3 titles. So
yeah, I remember they had.
Okay,
like,
so again, I was wondering where people with your mindset was last gen. I didn't see you guys until I guess 2015, 2016. But a lot of this bad stuff that you guys seem to hate a lot, people like yourself, you were nowhere to be found when all of this injustice was going on last generation.
Actually, a lot of people were speaking out about.
No, they weren't, because I was here.
What's it called?
I was here on YouTube, and I didn't see anybody. I was here on Twitter last gen. I didn't see anybody. I didn't hear anybody. No one was speaking out. There was no Rags. There was no Fratanga. There was no Bulletberry. There was none of those guys. There was no one speaking out about the stuff you're asking me about. No one was here. I know. I was here. There are people that only play on consoles in our section of the gaming community that were not present. They had just started jumping on the hype bandwagon this generation. So
Damn.
please don't sit here and tell me who was here and who was saying these things, because they weren't. I would know. I was here.
I mean, I would also know. I was also playing. I mean, I might have been younger, but I still...
It seems like you were very young, and I'm not going to give you the credit or believe any of the things you're saying that you was here and you saw certain people. Again, the people I named are kind of big, much bigger than myself, and I did not see them until this gen, the 4th generation of PlayStation.
Speaking of other people, actually, I didn't know if you wanted to bring it up, but what are your thoughts on Rags?
I think he's a fraud.
And
I think that a lot of people believe him for unknown reasons. So I'm trying to figure out a guy, again, that jumped on the hype bandwagon of this console generation, is supposed to be a driving force and I guess an idol for younger people like yourself to look up to. Again, only started messing around on YouTube a good amount of years into this console generation. I'm trying to figure out, how do you take someone seriously that was not there? There are more generations than just this one. I've been gaming on YouTube since 2008. I've had a PS2, PS1, PS Vita, PS Go, PSP, Xbox 360, Dreamcast, GameCube, Game Boy SP, Game Boy Color, Original DS. You name it, I had it. I've been gaming since the 90s, and I saw a lot of stuff. And again, when I was on YouTube in 2008, I did not see Rags. I did not hear him. I didn't see Fratanga. I did not hear him.
Did you know that the first thing that people see when they look up your name on YouTube, the thing right below your channel is here, let me count, 4 Rags videos?
Fratanga?
Yeah, that means he had a very fixed obsession with me. It gets him a lot of views to go after a console gamer. It's really not that hard to think about.
Exactly, man.
I mean,
I don't think he was.
No, I think so, because if you really think about it, your questions. I don't know if you know this. I've debated 50 people just like you last year. I had an open debate challenge last summer, and the questions you're asking me and the topics you're bringing up, I've been through it a lot. Dead ass serious, a lot. And a lot of those people I had already known were younger. And a lot of those people I had already known found out about me because of Rags. So I'm not oblivious to who you are or who you support. No. What I want to do is get back on topic.
All right.
And I wanted to understand, where was Rags last generation talking about anti-consumer and anti-gamer and not having crossplay? Where was Fratanga? Where was any of the other people that you look up to? The other people on YouTube or Twitter that you idolize with these types of ideals? Where were they last generation? I'm trying to figure out what's going on. So can you tell me where they were? When did you start hearing about anti-consumer and anti-gamer? Because if you look at the Rags videos that he did on me, they were I don't know. They came out 2015 or 2016. I started this very JayTechTV channel in 2011. So I was around gaming, saying what I always say, think how I always think, for many years before he even made a YouTube channel. And before this new account that I started in 2011, I had another account I started in 2006 for the PS3 generation. And again, I don't remember seeing rags or hearing anybody talking about not having crossplay or games should be on everybody's platform or Sony's being anti-gamer or any of that dumb shit. I'm trying to figure out, do you know when you first saw rags? So we can put into perspective that
I
you
don't
are a
remember,
newer gamer?
but I think it was sometime around like 4 or 5 years ago, something like that. Like really early when he started doing his YouTube channel.
So
Also, who's Fritanga? I don't know that guy.
so 4 or 5 years ago that's early for you? Because that's not
I mean,
early.
for him.
Yeah, I know, but
His YouTube channel started
this
4 years ago.
generation started in 2013. Rags did not make his YouTube channel until after that. So I was trying to figure out what's going on again.
I mean, personally, it's not early for me. I mean, when I was talking about anti-consumer, even when I was, like, younger, like, way younger, back in elementary school, we were all saying we wish we could play Halo with each other on, and I remember somebody brought up anti-consumer, and I mean, it's not that it hasn't been brought up, it's just a lot of people haven't been talking about it back in the day.
Again, this gen. That's when I heard about it. This gen. This is when it was an outrage. That's when I heard about anti-consumer and anti-gamer. You know, I've been playing PlayStation exclusives for multiple generations on my YouTube channel. This one alone. 2 different generations under the umbrella of this YouTube channel. And Rags only found me a couple years into this generation. So again, I understand that he brought this up. I understand that people like Bulletberry and other individuals also brought this stuff up. But they were not here last gen. You're not trying to admit that. There's a different type of hype about this generation because consoles are a little bit more powerful. The graphics are a little bit more prettier than last gen. So even PC gamers had to pay attention. And the games that are on these exclusive consoles, PS4 specifically,
cannot be read. Make sure that
you have a lot
dirty
of
or damaged
people
or
that want those games because they look better than they ever did. And I understand that. But for anybody, yourself included, to lie and say that people have been talking about being anti-gamer or anti-consumer last gen or the gen before that, no. Everybody understood when Sega came out with the Dreamcast. They understood they're going to be able to play games like Sega Sonic, or when Shenmue 1 came out, they didn't expect Shenmue 1 or the follow-up Shenmue 2 to go to alternate platforms. They knew it was going to stay on a Sega system. They knew Mario 64 and Mario Sunshine were going to be on their respective Nintendo consoles. No one was out there wanting those games to be on other gaming consoles. Now, the PC community has always had a fascination with mods and emulations, so of course, we all knew for many, many years that you guys really took interest in consoles. You just did not want to buy them. So again, this generation, games look better. They're still exclusive. You don't want to wait.
Games look better on the PC than PS4. It's just better graphics. You can get a better monitor, you can get a better graphics card, and So
exactly.
If you're really gonna bring up graphics, then I don't think that PS4 is the pinnacle of all graphics. It's not really that great comparison.
That is 100% true. That's why I don't see a reason for Bloodborne to be on a PC, because you guys have the pinnacle of graphics perfection. I don't really see a reason for God of War or Uncharted 4 or Horizon Zero Dawn or Days Gone or Death Stranding or Ghost of Tsushima or anything that Sony puts out with their first-party studios, the games that they're publishing, the games of their IPs that they own. I don't really see a reason for those games to go to the PC, since the PC is already the best gaming system in the world with the best graphics and the best processors. Why doesn't Steam just make some new exclusives for the PC fans to play? I don't see why you guys should be looking.
Actually, I agree with that. I think that
Exactly. So
Steam should.
what is the reason for PC fans to be looking at the PS4 exclusives and with these watery mouths and these, I don't know.
Talk about
I
Epic
mean, you
Store and
gotta admit,
Steam.
right?
Whoa.
You say, let's just take Bloodborne for example again. You do think that Bloodborne is a good game, right?
Yes, I platinumed the game. I finished the game last week completely. So yes, I believe it's a great game.
So imagine if you were, what's it called? If you really wanted to play it and you were on PC, you know, and say you don't have, you know, because you just bought a PC, you don't want to go out and buy a PS4. When you see why, hey, I do want to play Bloodborne, you know, there's a reason why people do want to play these games.
This is the thing. I'm actually a real gamer, unlike you. So I did not stick to the system that I knew was already going to lose. I stuck to the system that presented games that I wanted to play. I saw my brother with a PS2, and I saw all the amazing Japanese RPGs that he was playing. And I did not have enough money for a PS2. I did not have a job for a PS2. But I did ask my mom that year, because my DS fucked up, and I asked her for something close to a PS2. And guess what? Sony had a handheld at that time called the PSP. It was the closest I could get with a PS2. And it was just as good. It had Japanese RPGs. Yeah, I'm saying PSP. It had Japanese RPGs.
Oh, come on, man. You gotta admit, the PSP was a flop. It wasn't that good.
Was it a flop to you because you owned it, or it came out after you started gaming? Well, I mean, before you started gaming.
PS2 was a flop.
I had the PSP, I had the PS Vita, and the PS.
I'm gonna be 100% with you. I can hear it in your voice, and everyone else can hear it in your voice that you're very young. We're just gonna carbon date your voice alone. We can understand that you were not there. So don't insult my intelligence. I've talked to a lot of gamers, and I talked to a lot of people that watch Rags videos and talk to me. They were all in high school. Please don't insult my intelligence.
If you want me to go get my PSP, I can go get it.
Are you 20 years old?
No, I'm not 20 years old.
Okay.
Do I sound like I'm 20 years old?
No. Next year is going to be 2020, right? And
I'm aware of how years work. But...
Exactly. So if you're not anywhere close to 2020, you are a kid. That means when the generation started that we were just talking about, the PS3 generation, you weren't old enough to understand how a PS3 worked. And there's no reason why your mom and dad would be buying a 4 or 5-year-old a PS3 gaming console. So again, we're just going to go back to the basics. You don't know about some of these things. So you're telling me the PSP flopped because someone else thinks the PSP flopped, not because you actually had experience with it. Again, I started out with Nintendo. I know how handhelds work. I know it didn't have Mario. I know it didn't have Zelda. I already enjoyed those games. I had a lot of time with Nintendo.
I had an original DS. I had a PS. I can go get my PSP, dude. I played that for hours.
Yes, it won't show us that you brought the game the year it came out. You showing me a picture of something is just like me showing you a picture of something. It's not actually going to prove anything. So long story short, I had the system. I know the games that were on it. I know what it was capable of. I knew it was doing things the DS didn't do. I know it had better graphics. I know it had Sony's first party support, library on there, backwards compatibility, Skype, had a camera. It had a lot of shit. I could watch movies on there. I could watch, look at pictures on there, something that my original DS could not do. It needed another version of it to come out by Nintendo for it to do the things that the PSP was already doing. So in my book, as far as technology is concerned, Sony was ahead of its time with that. You also got to remember, the DS was not even powerful enough to run Monster Hunter. The follow-up DS versions were not powerful enough.
The DS could definitely run Monster Hunter. That was one of its flagship games.
Really? The original DS could run Monster Hunter? The original DS?
Yeah, that was one of the best games on it.
Yeah.
So you're talking about the original DS was playing Monster Hunter games?
Oh, the original DS.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh, the original.
Alright, the original DS, it was not the best hardware. I think the biggest problem with the PSP was that Sony failed to support it. They didn't put enough games out on it, and it kind of flopped because even though people bought it, there wasn't anything coming out for it. It was kind of the problem that the Switch had in the first month or two. It only had Legend of Zelda,
when I gave up the
thing.
DS, when I gave up the original DS, it had a drought that I participated in. I'll let you know what games came out that year. And I was waiting for Final Fantasy III, the little remaster game they brought out on the original DS. It came out years later. But long story short, I was playing this 3D Rayman game. I was playing Need for Speed Underground 2 on the DS. I had Mario 64 on the DS. And I think I had the Metroid demo that I just always kept playing because they never brought out a Metroid game on the DS that I could play. But they did have this demo, and they had Pick No Chat. I used to play with my nephews and cousins and shit. Long story short, it had a horrible drought, which also made my decision a little bit more healthier to go to Sony, try them out for the first time in all of my life. I was always with Nintendo. I gave them a shot. They had the games that I liked to play, and that's why I picked the system. It was more advanced than the original DS. No damn doubt about it. Same thing with the PS Vita. It was more advanced than the 3DS, and still is. Better graphics, touchpad on the back, touchpad on the front, camera on the back, on the front. You have access to Netflix on a PS Vita. You had access to Skype on a PS Vita. YouTube is on the Vita. Lots of different apps, calendars, alarm clocks, all that shit. Literally like a smartphone. It even gave you the ability to sign up with AT&T.
That's what I really use my Vita for is the apps. I just can't wait to go home and wake up using my alarm clock on the PS Vita.
So again, the system was more technically advanced than the 3DS. And it still had great games that the 3DS could not even imagine to do. So, it was doing what the Switch was doing before it was even out. And again, still a better handheld, technically, than the 3DS. Of course, Nintendo is always going to be a better handheld in the eyes of Nintendo fans because you get to play the Nintendo exclusives. And we go back to the focus of this discussion. Exclusives are very important because they change anyone's perception of if a game system is good or not. Because you're really not thinking about the features like you were about to tell me, right? You're thinking about the games you can play. Like Mario, Donkey Kong, and Metroid, and Zelda. You're not really thinking about how weak the DS or the 3DS was compared to a PSP or a PS Vita. You were thinking about how good the games were, how many games were on that platform. If a platform doesn't have anything exclusive, if the platform doesn't have anything exclusive, no one's going to say anything good about it. Persona 4 is exclusive to the Vita. It's one of the saving graces of the Vita. Uncharted had an exclusive game on the Vita. Another saving grace when it launched. The system might not have been supported 100% after the first 2 years by Sony or other major third-party developers, but the game was still supported by the indie community and the Japanese community, putting tons of different games on the platform, even to this day.
I noticed that you brought up the Uncharted game, but I actually did play the Uncharted game on the Vita, and that game was not good.
Oh, get the fuck out of here.
It was kind of bad, actually.
I'm like 2 seconds away from getting off of the Discord. Not specifically because of your words, but I know how just stupid they are. As young as you are, you probably don't know if a game is good or not, unless you're looking at a YouTuber that has way more subscribers than myself that you believe in. So if someone else is telling you something is good, you yourself, the type of individual that you are, you will actually believe it. If someone else is telling you the Switch is a better system than the PS4, it seems like you're the type of person that will believe it. I don't believe you're the type of gamer that many of the people that I've communicated with were, that actually knew when a game was good because they could look at it. They knew a system was going to present greatness because they looked at it. They could smell it. They could feel it. In this generation,
I just love smelling new consoles to see if they're good, you know?
In this generation, it seems like people like yourself need someone else to tell them if a game system is good or not. You don't actually do the
Yeah,
legwork.
Exactly.
My favorite thing is looking up reviews to see if the Nintendo Switch was good when I got it on launch day and just played Breath of the Wild, you know? I knew it was good when I played that game. I wasn't out here looking up reviews, you know? I just played it.
Thank you for supporting my facts. Thank you.
How am I supporting your facts? You just said I had to watch a YouTube video
You bought
to
the game. You bought the
understand
console
how a
exclusive, you
game was
dickhead.
good or if it was bad, but I
Oh
learned
my
it for myself, you know?
You just said you blindly brought a game system without looking at a review based on an exclusive game that was launched with the platform. You literally just supported me.
Test it themselves.
Hello?
Hi.
Why can't I hear you? Your voice got low. I had a phone call.
Oh, well, that's probably
Hello?
Hey, can you hear me now?
Yeah, your voice is louder. That was my fault. I had an unexpected phone call, and that person's probably gonna call back anyway. Hold on. Let me go tell this person not to call me. 1 second. Wasn't expecting to do this lengthy of a discussion. Let me see. How do we do this? Okay. So you blindly brought a Nintendo Switch without doing any research into what the system was about, specifically because of the game you could play at launch day, which was exclusive. Right?
I mean, you understand what a game console is when you buy it. You
Well,
know?
I mean, you're
see
telling
it
me,
on the page
you
where
told
buy
me
it.
earlier that every game should be on every platform. So if that game was on everybody else's platform, what would be the reason? The features, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but didn't you just try to trash the PS Vita based on its features?
The PS Vita was not used as an alarm clock. I don't care how long you say it. Nobody used the PS Vita for the alarm clock. That was not a selling point.
I never said I used the system for the alarm clock. I
You just said that. Oh
I
my
listed
God.
off a numerous amount of features. Not one feature, two, with an S at the end.
You repeatedly said that you used the
No, what
consoles
you
for
heard,
the
what you
features
heard
and
is
not
what
the
you
game.
heard. I listed off a whole bunch of features. What stuck in your mind was a fucking alarm clock. That's a you problem. That's not a me problem. Again,
Oh, yeah,
I
sorry, I have
said, this
alarm
is what
clock
I
disorder.
said.
It's where
I
I
said
can't
it
think
had
of anything but
everything.
alarm clocks, you know?
You want to know what's funny? It had everything an original DS had. And you're telling me alarm clock is a joke. But when I had the fucking DS, I activated alarm clock and a calendar. So is that a bad thing to have in a piece
You
of...
use the DS alarm clock? Nobody. Why would you use
Again,
why don't you
so
get an
so
alarm?
you're basically saying having modern day technology and applications and all of these other features and new technologies is a joke.
Why don't you just get an alarm clock? There's no reason that you should use a DS, I don't care what it is. If you could put your PS4 next to your head while you sleep and it turns on when it's 6 in the morning, I don't think it's a good idea. I think you should just get an alarm clock. It shouldn't be a selling point.
A phone has an alarm clock.
Okay, you should use the phone. I don't think a game console should have to have an alarm clock on, you know?
So
It shouldn't have to have, like, a calculator on
what
the
is a
PC.
selling point for you in a game console?
I would say graphics. Yeah, so graphics, probably the game selection, like the online store. Because the eShop, it's just a consistent lineup of amazing games. And stuff like that, I would say.
You know Nintendo Switch is the most limited platform on the market, right?
I mean, yeah, it has what's called its technical problems are many.
I
But
mean, the
you can
eShop
also,
is
you can
worse than
get
the
really
PS.
amazing games.
You know,
and
the
bring them on
eShop
show.
is worse than the PlayStation Store, as well as their gaming lineup on the Nintendo Switch. It is way less due to the power that it even provides to developers. So again, there were a lot of things the Vita did that the Switch is doing, and you have the nerve to shit on the Switch. But without the Switch, I don't think without the Vita, the Switch wouldn't even be doing the shit. You understand the type
I mean,
of
that's like saying without the NES, the entire console gaming wouldn't exist. I mean, it's true, but that doesn't
No,
make
that's
it
not
inherently
true
better.
because before the NES there was a Atari. So you don't give thanks to Nintendo. You give
Yeah, but
thanks
then
to
there was
Atari.
what's it called? But after the Atari, there was the game crash, and then Nintendo kind of brought
Again,
it back from the
but
brink.
there was a gaming system before the NES. You're worshiping
Yeah,
Nintendo too much.
I'm aware. I know.
Exactly,
What
but
came
you
before the
said
NES.
you said that we should give thanks to Nintendo, and without Nintendo's NES, a lot of other things wouldn't exist. There were other systems out here before the NES.
Yeah, you brought up Atari,
And there were
but
and there were
Atari,
also competitors.
oversaturation
There were
of the
other.
market almost killed the entire industry.
So I'm talking to a Nintendo fan basically, because you're
You're talking to an everything fan.
no,
Like,
no, because you seem to be very defensive of Nintendo, and I used to be a Nintendo fan way before you were even born, and it really, really kind of sucks that I have to meet a current generation Nintendo fan that does not know the history of gaming. Nintendo was anti-consumer. Nintendo was anti-gamer. They were anti-competition. Nintendo was against all of it.
Nintendo is anti-gamer. Would you please keep going with that? Why?
Don't they have exclusives that other platforms didn't have?
Yes, they do. But
okay, but Sony. So wait up. In your opinion, you say Sony is anti-gamer because don't they have exclusives too?
I'm saying the exclusives are anti-consumer.
And that means Nintendo is anti-consumer, right?
No, every company has exclusives, and the exclusives.
I understand that, but doesn't that make Nintendo anti-consumer due to the fact that they have exclusives as well?
Alright, if I say yes to this, it would also mean Sony is anti-consumer.
I know your stance. I know your stance on Sony. You don't really have to reiterate it. I know your stance won't change. I'm trying to get you to admit. I'm trying to get you. I'm trying to get you to say something against Nintendo to actually point out the fact that you're not a fanboy, but you're showing me that you are a fanboy.
Alright, the Nintendo eShop doesn't have an amount of
well, I'm just going to point out right now, if you really want to compare a Nintendo Switch to anything, compare it to the PS4. It is a shittier version of the PS4.
Yes, I forgot. It is a direct copy of the PS4 except shittier. There is no other feature on the Switch that could set it apart. I forgot.
You know about Remote Play, right? The feature that the Switch was modeled after? You know about
actually modeled after. However, Remote Play does require that you have
what? Can I ask you a question? Do you know when Remote Play came out?
Remote Play came out on the PS3. I remember that.
In what year?
I don't know what year exactly.
2008.
Cool.
That means that came out before the Wii U.
Alright. What? Okay.
It did.
I'm aware of when the Wii U.
Okay, but that's what I'm trying to say. Sony was doing a feature that Nintendo modeled two consoles after before Nintendo did it.
If Sony supported that, if Sony supported the
every game is playable on Remote Play. Every game.
Yeah, every game is playable on the Remote Play, but you got to be in a certain distance. The thing with the Switch, the reason it has limited hardware is because you can take it places. You can take it to space. People have taken it.
But whose fault is that? That's not Sony's fault. That's Nintendo's fault. Maybe they shouldn't have went with the handheld market for a home console. Maybe they should have just made a handheld and then make a console like they've done so many years.
It's a handheld that can turn into a console. There's some sacrifices that have to be made here.
Again, that's not a Sony problem. That's not a me problem. That's a them problem.
But we're talking about it, so it's.
I mean, you're trying to give excuses on why it's a shittier platform. It's just a shittier platform. As simple as that. That was their decision to make it weaker. That was their decision to not have a good store. That's no one else's problem except for Nintendo's.
Kind of fucking
Nintendo
idiot, man. You can just
is
take them
a
apart.
different. What's it called? The Switch is definitely different from the PS4. It's a hybrid console. The PS4 is not. You can't like put it on 2 controllers and go play it. You know, it's a different console entirely. It's not as bulky. The Switch can't be as bulky, and if it was, then obviously it'd be able to play things that the PS4 could. But it's limited because of its size, and that's what it's designed to do. It's not in direct competition with the PS4, but it's a different type of console.
What's funny is you're telling me how different it is, but just a good amount of minutes ago you were comparing who sold the fastest. So if
Switch
it
was the fastest selling console.
well, if it's so different, then why are you comparing it?
No, it sold more units. I'm not saying that it was.
I understand that,
better.
but I mean, you're telling me it sold more units compared to what?
Compared to the Switch in its first month, compared to the PS4 in the PS4's first month, it sold so many, but the Switch easily beat it.
So you're comparing the two, even though you're telling me one is different than the other, and you're still comparing.
They're different hardware. Like it's different in hardware. It's not different in
You
sales,
understand that Nintendo's
kind of
handhelds always sold very, very fast. You understand that, right? The 3DS outsold the PS3 very fast. It's no contest.
PS Vita did not spring off the shelves, if that's what you're trying to say.
I'm not trying to say that. I'm trying to say that Nintendo has a bigger market with handhelds and always will be. So if they have a hybrid level console, it will always sell very fast. They understood that. That's why they didn't make.
Nintendo supports its hardware, though. You know, PS Vita, it had a couple of games, but then it burnt out and it didn't have more.
Can you name me some exclusives? Can you name me some exclusives that came out? Can you name me some exclusives that came out for the Nintendo Switch recently?
There are a million exclusives. There's Mario, the new Mario Bros. New Mario Bros. 2. There was like some Marvel games that came out for it. There was Mario Kart. There was Samus Returns, which was remastered from the Game Boy. There was Link's Awakening was there. What? Master Blaster. There's a ton of them. You know,
none of those games have came out. You name me something from a Nintendo Direct. Those games haven't actually came out.
Yes, those games are like many years old.
Those games were announced at a Nintendo Direct. They have not came out on the Switch yet. Nintendo.
Not on the Switch. I'm talking about the DS.
I'm talking about the Nintendo Switch. What does the Nintendo Switch have?
Not supporting.
I never said that. That's what you said that I said. I never said that out of my mouth. I'm specifically talking about Nintendo's support for the Switch is equal to the support of the 3DS. Fans love Nintendo's handheld market. Nintendo got the bright idea to make a hybrid console instead of just a home console. That's why the Switch is even selling. However, it still has a drought. I was wondering if you understood why developers don't always put their games on the Switch and why all of their AAA multiplats don't always go to the Switch.
Yeah, that's because the hardware is limited because it's a hybrid platform.
Okay, so Nintendo always supports their platform, but can you name some exclusives that came out between January and now in April?
January and now. Super Smash Bros. That was December.
That came out last year.
That doesn't count. There was that Yoshi game came out like a couple of weeks ago.
I don't think anybody cares about
Kirby Star Allies came out.
Yeah, nobody cares about those two games. Those games are garbage.
If you're asking me to name things, then you're saying that they don't matter, then why are you saying them?
I was just wondering if it's like any big exclusives you can name that people really go crazy about that came out.
Brothers. That was in December, but it was still a huge hit.
Anything this year? A huge hit 4 months into the year? Anything huge this year?
Yoshi is really big. Kirby blew up. I mean, it's that game is good, and it's one of the top sellers on Switch. You know.
If that's the sense of that, then it'll be like GTA.
The person
then,
that continues to educate you on pointers that is also talking to you. I don't know if he's behind you or beside you.
Be in there.
I probably would rather talk to him because you just don't seem educated. And it seems like I'm wasting my time on yet another kid. If you need any tutoring or help from another human being, that means you don't have the knowledge. And I don't want to talk to anyone that does not have the knowledge.
Why would you agree to this interview if you were just like, oh, it's a kid, you know?
No, because I like live streaming this type of stuff to show people the new generation of PC fans that also share the spotlight with the Nintendo Switch because it's a secondary console for them and they can go on and go with it, are actually little kids. So
you know, the PC is like just actually better than the PS4. You know that, right?
That's subjective.
It's objective.
Exactly.
It has better hardware, more games,
and yet all generation I've been seeing PC fans on the internet begging Sony for their exclusives, so it can't be that fucking good.
I mean, Nintendo.
Can I ask you a question? Can I ask you a question? When's the last time you saw a Steam commercial?
He says he still wants Smash Brothers.
When's the last time you saw a Steam commercial on TV?
I haven't seen a Steam commercial on TV because they don't do commercials.
Because it's not mainstream. That's why. Everyone has a computer.
Steam has been downloaded many more times than PS4, like 1 million times over.
Yeah, but which one is on TV getting advertised and which one isn't? It's not a console.
Steam doesn't need to be advertised on TV. Everybody, once they get a PC, if they want to play games, they look up games to download on PC, and Steam comes up.
Well, then throw the Epic Store in there. Go ahead.
So what about the Epic Store that's gobbling up games exclusively on their launcher? What about that?
People have been refuting the Epic Store. You see, Borderlands got review bombed. People are hating that the Division.
That's not a good thing. That's a horrible thing. That shows how toxic the Steam community is. That's not a good thing to brag about.
Exactly.
I mean, the Steam though has a massive market. The U.S., China, South Korea. I mean, it's huge. You know.
Do you know how many Steam exclusives went to the Xbox Live store and the PlayStation Store?
Dota 2 is not on. What's it called? Dota 2 is definitely, for sure, not on either the Switch or the PS4 or the Xbox. It's only on PC, and it's crushing.
We're on this subject. Talk about how Steam doesn't support any sort of devs in its entirety. It takes.
I wasn't talking about Dota. I was talking about many other games that were exclusive only to Steam that magically I see on the PSN.
Yeah, because Steam doesn't, unless they develop the games, they don't lock down exclusives, you know?
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. They have lost more exclusives before Epic Games Store than after.
They're not losing exclusives because they don't have exclusives. They
Actually, they do. If a game, if you're talking about exclusives, you need to understand that a game that's only on one platform, by default, it is called an exclusive. I brought a game on the PSN. It was a pretty shitty game. It's called Blood Wave. I looked it up and I found out that the game first came out on Steam a couple years ago. And at that point in time, it was literally exclusive.
To ask him who owns Steam.
I mean, that's like saying, what's it called? That's like saying, oh, this game came out on PC, so it must suck, so PC must suck. You know, it's
What about Counter-Strike? What about Counter-Strike?
Counter-Strike is great. I think it's on the Xbox 360, right?
It's on the 360 and the PS3. So again, the game used to. There are many different times where games were actually only on Steam, and now they're not. This is before Epic Games Store. So yes, when a game is on one platform, it is called an exclusive. Just like Halo. It
still has a shitty port on 360.
Nobody cares how shitty it is. The fact of the matter, it's not only found on your launcher.
Alright, like, do you know Payday 2? Have you played that?
Again, not exclusive to PC anymore.
I know. Have you played it?
No, I played Payday 1 last gen.
Alright, Payday 2 on PS4 is like way worse than on or on PC because its updates haven't been going for a long time now.
That's a developer problem. That's not the PS4's problem.
Exactly.
Developers make the game. They don't
Exactly, and that's why it's their responsibility to
Exactly.
update the game. You're agreeing with me again.
Fucking idiot,
It's the
man.
developer's problem. They made the game. They should update it.
Shit.
If they want their game to look like shit on another person's platform, that's a them problem. That's not a Sony or PS4 hardware problem. So when a developer puts a game on another platform and they make it look bad, when a developer puts another game on another platform and they make the game look bad and it runs worse, that's not anybody else's fault. Sony doesn't look bad. The PS4 hardware doesn't look bad. It looks bad on the developer and their skills to actually multitask and make games look good around the clock. I mean, this is a point that you literally were just spouting at me in the beginning of this. Now it seems to be a debate where every game should be on every platform. But if the developer can't keep the same energy from PC, where, I mean, the community can make a game look good even if a game is shitty because mods, right? So just because you have, when you start talking to me about mods, if you ever do, again, that's the community making the game better. Because the community makes the mods, not the developer. The developer allows the mods, but they don't make the mods. So when you have graphical and...
Mods here, we're talking about games themselves.
Exactly. But the community helps PC developers make their games look better. When they actually have to work with real home console games, that's when they have to actually put in work. And when those games perform worse on home gaming consoles, that proves to everyone, the whole world, that game developer can't actually make good games. So when you're telling me about Payday 2 not being good on the PS4, that doesn't make anybody look bad except for the developer.
Payday 2, the reason that it's not good on PS4 is because Sony is charging an exorbitant price for updating a game past like 2 times. They're charging way too much for them to update it, and they can't do it. You know, they're already...
Again, that's a developer problem. When you're a game developer, you're supposed to make sure you have these resources. So if they knew they didn't have the money, there was no reason to put their game on a platform. That's how I feel about it.
I would love to resume this some other time, but it is
past your bedtime. I understand. It's past your bedtime.
Would you like to...
Okay, guys. We're going to continue to play Uncharted 4. He just admitted to me many times that he was too young to understand anything about gaming consoles and gaming handhelds of the past. So we had to start late because he said he was having dinner and he couldn't be in the chat. And then it is a little after 10 o'clock. So depending on his time zone, that's probably bedtime. So that basically points out to he was a little kid and he wasted my time. This is why I don't debate current generation PC fans, because they're just a waste of my time. And I'm just going to be honest. They really are.
I was going to tell you, Jay, you should have asked him who owns Steam, because I had a feeling that...
No, he has somebody. He has somebody beside him. It seems like his older brother or somebody, filling him in on what happened in previous generations and what happened. So he was actually
sorry, man. That whole thing was just stupidity. Beyond, like, you obviously, when you came down to the aspect of him buying a Switch, that was the cutoff point. The reason why you invited JayTech on was to prove that theory, right?
Exactly.
You basically proved yourself, your fucking point forward and being right. And then he goes ahead and says, Payday. Well, the thing with Payday, if that's their problem, right, it's down to the developer, which you said, and the publisher. Nothing to do with Sony. Sony are just a platform in which they're on. Doesn't have anything to do with them at all. When you come down to it, right, if you want to talk about Sony and being consumer friendly and helpful and shit like that, right, and when it comes down to Sony and Steam, right, when PlayStation 4 was being made, what happened at the beginning of PlayStation 4 when they demonstrated that thing? They were all about the developers. They were asking developers what they wanted in the system, what they cared about, what could help them. And when you have Steam, right, if you put a game on their fucking system, right, 70%, 80% of that money that is given to buy that game is to Steam, and then the rest of that money goes to the people that make the game. That, in some sense, is anti-developer consumer or anti-developer, because you're basically fucking developers over and put it on your thing. That's why if people go to Epic Store, you may want to talk shit about Epic, right? And how they haven't got certain features, but the fact of the matter is they will fix those features. And when they do, Steam will become obsolete because they'll have to fix their own shit on the aspects of their policies of how much they are giving, or sorry, how much they are getting from the sales of that game.
You know what's crazy though, man? He proved my point so many times. So what happens is, Gen people, is we have PC fans that attach themselves with Nintendo because, I mean, it's pretty obvious that Nintendo has a handheld console thing, and that they play the games that they really like. Plus, because this generation is filled with a lot of younger people. Sorry, Adam. This generation is filled with a lot of younger people. They're attracted to Nintendo because they have younger style games. And of course, PC, this new generation of developers, they present a lot more younger style games with the indie games. So I knew he was a PC fanboy. He asked me about RAG, so I already knew who he fucking was way before he even did any of that shit. I just think it's funny, man, that he wasted my time. He got help. It's just crazy, man.
Can I just ask something? Did he mention earlier on about? Did he say something about searching your name on YouTube and what comes up?
Yeah, he said search my name on YouTube, and he said Rag's videos came up.
Well, to be honest, he said something about, I don't know who Fratanga is yet. If you search your name, Fratanga's videos are on the top of the fucking list.
I know.
So you do know who Fratanga is.
Look,
don't you fucking lie.
What's funny about this whole thing, bro, is it's like this is what's going on, bro. This is what's going on. We got people that think they're smarter than us, but they haven't even lived half of our lives. And then he kept telling, this is Uncharted 4. He kept telling me that he wasn't young. He came on and said, what did he say? He had strep throat or something? I'm like, strep throat would make you sound older, not younger. You sound just straight like a little kid. As simple as that.
The kid sound like he was born in 22. I said 2005, but he said 2008. And again, I mean, listen,
no, he never confirmed that he was born in the 80s. That means if he was born in the beginning of this century or whatever you call it, is it millennium or century?
We're talking,
But if you were born in 2000s, right? He must have been like 5 or at least 6 when the PS3 came out. And then when
I was born in 1993, right, which means I was in the generation era of the PS1. I wouldn't say I'm in the generation era of like the Atari and shit like that, because I wasn't. That'll be lying. I started on the PS1.
I tell people all the time I started with the N64, because even though I had a Super NES before the N64, when I started really gaming and understanding what games were, it was 97. Okay? And I had a Super NES, but I figured out recently, that, hey, the 64 was out. But I got the 64 after the Super NES, and I think that was in 1998. So long story short, man, I was late. I was always late. I've told people I was always late.
I'm just going to ask this, Jay. Would I be wrong for saying the last Nintendo console that was made that was actually successful was GameCube? Would I be mistaken to say that?
Not really. GameCube was a hot ass system, man.
I mean, actually, I should rephrase that, because the thing is, Wii and Wii U were in some sense successful.
No. So, the Wii U was really a flop. The Wii was a successful, but it was a blue ocean strategy successful. That's where they started that phrase, blue ocean strategy. You want to know why? Because even though it wasn't competing with Sony, it still beat Sony.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
the thing
it
was as
wasn't
well, the Wii
competing,
U,
but it still
if you,
beat them.
I mean, there's also a sense, if you look at the Wii U, right, and you look at the Switch, you can easily see the factors of why they made that console, and then obviously the bridge between that console and the
Exactly,
Switch,
and that's what
how
I
that
was
shit came
trying to
around.
tell him, that Sony was doing remote play before Nintendo really wanted to do what they did.
Oh yeah, big time.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like, they got the bright idea from Sony. As simple as that. And it's not a bad idea. It fits them
I think he
perfectly,
talked about
but
crossplay as well. I mean, that's the other thing. I wish he talked about the factor of
he
if
was a
any person
generic
that asked
PC
you
fan.
about
He was very
any
generic.
person asks you about crossplay, right? Any motherfucker talks about that. Ask him, are you wanting to talk about crossplay or are you wanting to talk about cross progression? Because
There
the
you
amount of
go.
times they come to that point, they talk about that stuff because it's a sense of, oh, I can't carry my Fortnite account over to my PlayStation, to my Xbox, to my Nintendo, to my PC. That's cross progression. If you want to talk about cross platform, in this case, playing with my which he did say eventually, then I would understand you mentioning that. It's also the sense that we, as PlayStation gamers, know last generation PlayStation wanted to do this. They were all for it, but the problem was Nintendo weren't up to the standards, so they were out of the game, right? Microsoft were being too much of a dicks because they were like PlayStation right now, where they were selling a shit ton of consoles, they're in front. So basically, PlayStation were like twiddling their fingers, thinking, "Who's gonna play ball with us?" I think PC at a point did do it. They were like, "Okay, we'll play ball with you," and they did. But it was so minute that no one talked about it. But then when it comes to Fortnite, which was last year with Nintendo, this was the trigger to thinking, now we talk about it because Nintendo want to do crossplay. Wow,
Exactly.
that's the trigger.
And you want to know what's funny? You want to know what's really funny about that is, if Nintendo does something, everybody think, oh, okay, they did it first. We got to give them respect. And this guy, knowing he wasn't even there anywhere near when the NES came out, I know I was probably born. I was born in '88. So when did the NES come out? 90? 85.
85.
Okay. So I was born after the NES came out, right? This guy wasn't born until after the PS3 came out. And the PS3 came out a year after. I swear to God, it came out a year after the Xbox 360. This guy is talking like his only system was Switch. He did not brag about GameCube.
Yeah, it kind of
He
felt
didn't
like that.
brag
He said he owned
about.
a PS.
Yeah, he didn't talk about the N64. If he's talking about an NES, that's probably something somebody older in his family has.
I also
Again,
want to. I also, by the way, I just wanted to I just wanted to say though, when he brought up the entire game for PS Vita and said that game was a flop, it was terrible and it was a flop. I love how he said that, and when I looked on, I was like, I'm pretty sure it wasn't a shit game because I remember every single person I knew that played that game on Vita said they wish it was ported to PS4. I go onto Metacritic, I literally go on to reviews of that game. That game's at an 80 on Metacritic. That's
exactly.
Also,
That's a
it's at
good
90,
game.
I think it was at 87 on some other critic thing. That game was good, and it was made by Sony Benz.
Exactly. That's exactly what I'm talking about, bro.
No, little kid. No. If it was a flop, if it was that bad, Sony wouldn't even allow Ben Studio to make this game that they're doing right now.
Exactly.
Hands down.
And then Sony Ben is also the people that did Siphon Filter, bro. So I know they know about guns.
Exactly. And also,
they know about gunplay.
God, what was it called again? It was a really, really old game. Shit. Their first game, I forgot what it's called. It wasn't Conquer. What we'll talk about. Let me have a look. But yeah, that kind of pissed me off a bit when he said that shit. I was like, no, Ben Studio. 1 minute, give me a sec. Bugsy, that's it. Just remembered it.
Yeah, they made Bugsy. That was their first game.
Yeah, that was the first game, and they made Siphon, like you said, man. That was a popular game. People want that to come back. And then they made they after that they were like hiatus for a long time, and then they made Uncharted. Well, from time to time they came up, but the next big game was technically Uncharted Golden Bits, which a lot of people were like, I don't know about this game. I played this on the Vita, by the way, and it was fucking great. I wish it was in the HD collection that was brought out in what 2014, like, and it didn't. So like, yeah, I mean, there was a lot of things that kid was just. It felt like the kid was taking a back seat, asking a question, taking a back seat, see if you would slip up. And boy, that was a wrong answer.
No. That's what I'm saying. If you listen closely, there was someone else there filling him in. I don't know if did you hear him, because one time he talked a little bit too loud, and I thought everybody would have heard him, but I heard him. You didn't hear him?
I mean,
yeah, there was somebody beside him filling him in, because when I kept saying, so you're telling me Monster Hunter was on the original DS, and I kept saying that, and I kept saying it, there was somebody beside him and filled him in that it was on the 3DS, and then he switched his answer.
Yeah, the way he sounded when he was stopping and starting, like somebody was telling something.
Yeah. So that's why I said at the end of the debate.
Wait a minute. No, I actually know I did hear somebody, because when
go back on the live stream and you will hear him.
No, I did. I remember hearing, because you said basically this is what you said. You said no, not the 3DS, the DS. He goes, oh, the DS, and then somebody literally said, oh, they literally said, oh, not the 3D. Oh, I was talking about the 3DS. So I thought,
yeah, so this is what I'm saying. I'm not gonna do no more interviews or debates. Yeah, that's why I specifically talked to him about what next year is. Next year is 2020. That means if I'm debating you and you're not fucking 20, you really weren't born in the 90s, so you shouldn't be talking about it. And when you were growing up, you probably came into contact with your first system.
25 years.
PlayStation been out for longer than 25 years. They're going longer now, man. I think it's
when was their 25th anniversary? 25th anniversary is when?
About a couple years ago.
95. Yeah, a couple years ago. So yeah.
You really got to say 94. I know it was 94. In Japan, but yeah, I really say 94.
Yeah. Yeah, you would say 94. Yeah, I know what you mean.
So,
it's been, so pretty much, the benchmark, really. I mean, I was born in 93. PlayStation for me.
So it's like 26 years old right now, but yeah, it's 20. I think it's 20. I think they've been out for 26 years. Let me see.
They had the 20th anniversary years ago. It was I think it's like 25 years. Pretty sure of it.
I'm about to just say 2019. Yeah, it says 25 years right now, but I think it really. I don't know, man. I mean. I think they passed their 20-year. No, it was their 20-year anniversary we were talking about.
Because
we got a theme. We got a dynamic theme for it. Yeah. So.
And the exclusive PlayStation as well. Don't forget.
Yeah. So, like, if you started with PlayStation, you should probably be close to 30.
Jay. Says here, Sony Computer Entertainment has just announced the PlayStation Classic to celebrate a 25th anniversary of the first PlayStation. That was last year for the Classic.
Really?
So it's been 25 years.
25 years.
25 years. December 3rd, 2018.
So next year will be 27?
No.
By
December.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be 26, 27.
So PlayStation Classic to celebrate the 25th anniversary of the first PlayStation. Yeah, so
it's 26 years this year and 27 years next year. Because that was last year.
That's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, but that puts a lot more emphasis on, we already knew he was young. We heard it in his voice. And there's no fucking way he was out there with the PS3 because the PS3 was too expensive. So I'm like, why are you even talking about these systems?
It doesn't matter if he owned a previous console. He came into the generation of Xbox 360 and PS3. You were born in that generation. Simple as. We don't care if you played the Sega or whatever.
Exactly, bro. People that do that shit, people that do that, they can get the fuck out of my face, man. I never brag about systems I played after they came out. I know what systems I had.
Right. I mean,
that's what I talk about.
We talk about PC, right, a lot when it comes to graphics. He says how graphically stunning PC is. And,
thanks, EGK. Thanks for watching, man.
He talked about how graphically PCs are better as well. And we agree, right? They have the tech to have graphically better visually.
I was playing I was playing games like Inspector Gadget on a Super NES. I was playing like this
Yeah.
like this little, what was the shooter? This aircraft shooter game, top down. Super Mario World 3.
Oh.
I never had Zelda until I got a handheld. That's when I got Link's Awakening on a Game Boy
That's what I
Color.
don't get. Like, he talked about how
Um,
graphically PC is better and visually, it could be better, of course. But this is the thing. It could be. But we talked about this before. When was the last time we saw a PC game that was graphically really fucking stunning? Last time I saw something like that was with Crysis 3 with Crytek. That's pushing the boundaries graphically. Based on right now, any PC game that I see people talk about, and then I look at God of War, I look at Spider-Man, Uncharted, whatever, right? Graphically, they are not better. They don't look better than one of those PlayStation games. Because they clearly don't utilize the tech they have. Most of those studios use Unreal Engine 4, nothing wrong about it, or Unity, but again, nothing wrong about using those engines. But when you have in-house studio engines like Decima, like the Uncharted engine, which I forgot what it's called, the God of War engine, right? Completely different meta. Like, you can see why
I'm
these
gonna say
games
one
are on
thing: The
PS4.
Last of Us 2 about to blow people out the water.
Oh, big time. I mean,
Yeah,
all you have to do is
because
watch the gameplay video.
I'm looking at Uncharted 4 and the
So,
attention to detail in this house, and it's
yeah,
just on a
I
whole
mean,
another type of level.
here's the thing, right, Jay? You're playing Uncharted 4. Based on the face, when you load into Uncharted 4 and it's got like the loading of like, and you see Drake's, like close up of Drake's face, Len's face, and Sully's face, how many PC games have that sort of that characteristic fidelity
They
in them?
don't, and that's why I
Because
was trying to
they
tell
don't.
him that don't talk to me about how good a game on PC looks, because most of the
No,
modding community is the reason why it even looks that good. You know, these
exactly.
games are
You
always
said that.
bare bone. When they port these games to consoles, we see how shitty these developers are.
Yeah.
Like, we really
Well,
do. I'm not saying all developers are shitty that make games specifically for consoles, but when they bring their games over and they're not finished and they have problems and they're glitchy and they're buggy, that's not Sony's problem. That's not a PS4 hardware problem. That's the developer. See,
developer and
they are
publisher
lazy.
problem.
Exactly, they're lazy over there because they know they can be. They know the PC fans, the community of the modding
See,
community is
this
gonna pick up
kid
the
would have
slack.
understood that if he went to school in the sense of studying game. Whenever he is able to go to university, or in your sense, college, right, to study game design, that's if he wants to study that, right, then you would understand what goes through a sense of game design and publication and all these other characteristics in video games. Because when you do that, right, you will understand the factor of PlayStation is just a console. And when it comes to games like Call of Duty, Battlefield, I'm just talking like third-party games. I'm not talking exclusive games. I'm talking that aspect, like FIFA, Madden. They go to these consoles because they need these consoles to sell their games. If there wasn't a console to sell these games, and let's just say it was just PC, I can tell you right now, they would not be getting the money that they think they will be getting, like the percentage of game, like money. I would probably say gaming, the industry of gaming, wouldn't really even be healthy if games were only on PC. I can tell you that right now. It'll be in the
Look,
shell.
I
The gaming
guarantee you,
industry would not be
if I
thriving.
started to ask him about day one sales, I guarantee you he would be talking about he doesn't buy games day one. You notice how he never talked about games he brought,
No,
because he doesn't have that concept anymore. Like,
you need.
the younger generation doesn't understand the value of a dollar. That's why he never talked about the game systems he brought or the games that he
No,
brought, because he doesn't buy that. That's why he never
no, he
brought it up.
doesn't. He's a kid, though.
He's a kid. Of course
You
we
know what
know
I
he's a
mean?
kid. Hey, Yella, you was there
Here's
when
the
he
thing.
said, I know my voice might sound strange. I have strep throat.
Oh,
I'm like, really?
yeah.
You got strep throat?
You know,
No.
probably too long.
I'm sorry, man, but like I was saying, bro, if
Fucking
PC
little
was the only thing around,
tiny
bro,
humans.
if PC was the only platform in which games could be on, I can say this right now, the gaming industry would not be where it is today. It just wouldn't.
Got none of that.
It honestly wouldn't.
Sorry. I'm sorry.
100%.
Your day.
P,
Oh, it was fine.
Mm-hmm.
Typical day in paradise.
Mhm.
Yeah, exactly. Like this is the
Exactly,
point.
man. It
Like
would kill
PC
gaming.
gamers. I'm not saying all of them do, but that I'd say
Enough of them do
pretty
it.
much around six. If I was to say, I'll probably say it will be more than 50% of people pirate their games on PC. Over 50%. Not saying the whole 100. I'm saying over 50%. You know,
Bro,
and
he
this is
really was
when
a
it comes to
hardcore Nintendo fan, bro.
Started out as
Man,
Yeah, I know.
Nintendo can do
So
no
I
wrong
think
to
I think
him.
you pitched it out there because there's no way he talked about Nintendo too much to the sense of if he was a balanced gamer, he'll be talking about Nintendo, he'll be talking about PlayStation, he'll be talking about Xbox, he'll be talking about PC. I mean, if he wants to, he can even talk about Sega in a sense when they were around. But no, he didn't even do any of that. It's a sense of when he talked about any extreme shit like that, right? It's a sense of exclusives exist on PlayStation because that is their selling point. And you even said it, right? If we didn't have any exclusives, PlayStation wouldn't be who they are. They need those exclusives because if we didn't have them, we'll basically be like Xbox. That's one of the reasons why Xbox didn't succeed in any sense, or didn't get any sort of sales for the first, like 4 years? Let's say 3 years of the Xbox One, because there wasn't any exclusives that were enticing enough, and obviously they were struggling with the device's strict like policies that they 180'd on, and PlayStation was just like, you know what, we'll take any deal for third parties and we'll make it exclusive on the side. And as we've been seeing, like God of War selling, what was it, like 3 million in the opening weekend, and then was it 9 million in a month? That was crazy. Then obviously Spider-Man was selling.
in a different state.
Oh, wait,
I
was it
just
12
blocked
million?
that little boy on fucking Twitter for wasting my time. I'm about to block him on Discord. He said, it was a good debate. We should pick it up another time. No, we shouldn't. Because I have no respect for anybody that can't believe they're...
Right?
Fuck him,
You know
bro.
you should have done. You should have said, yeah, let's pick this up, this debate up on PlayStation Party Chat.
I already asked him for his PSN name, and I already put that shit in. He has a trophy level of 15, but I don't think it's his account.
All right, if it's just
I think it's his brother's. Because someone older, not his uncle, not his father, it seemed like a brother-type figure was with him in the room, giving him
I would
answers.
love to have. I was saying it when you were talking about. I would love to have been there. There would have been so many questions I'll be asking him. So many. I think some of these questions I would be asking him, he would be umming and ahhing, and he'll be trying to get off those questions very quick. Very, very quick. I'm not saying I know everything about gaming, because to be honest, I don't fucking know everything about gaming.
Hey,
but I know for a fact
Adam,
that
you
shit
watching the live
involved
stream?
in-
This is my favorite part, bro. This is my favorite part, bro.
I bet I can beat your high score.
You think that you can beat my high score on my TV game thing?
Yeah, I'm sorry, bro.
You gotta look at this shit,
anyway,
bro. No, you're not. You gotta watch me play
dude,
Crash
yeah,
Bandicoot.
this was it. The
Yeah.
So, what do you say? Chicken? Is it a bet?
Oh wow, okay, cowboy.
Bro.
to be honest, I've got to say, man, the scene before this.
Okay. Watch and
Yeah,
He tried to say everything PlayStation did was trash. Like, I love that
Yeah,
shit
he
about
did.
him, bro. He was like PSP and PS Vita were trash. Nobody cares about features, but features are what make anything bearable. Outside of gaming,
I loved how he zoomed in on the alarm clock thing.
yeah. Like, I talked about so many features and not just alarm clocks.
Is there a problem?
no.
You got that DualShock 1.
Do you
I gotta say, this scene that you're playing now, before when it starts, when they're eating,
Okay.
that scene was fucking awesome because
Yes, it
just
was.
the facial animations, the jaw, cheeks, chewing, everything was just going off. I'm like, I can't wait for Last of Us because you know how good that game's gonna be. I mean, we've already seen it.
Run towards the
Damn, I
wall.
can't wait.
I know, I just like to explore.
Yeah, I've been hearing a lot about it.
Run away from the boulder.
Why
I
is
hope.
the boulder chasing
Just to
me?
piss people
Just
off,
run
bro.
away from it.
I did nothing to
No, not only to piss them off, it's just gonna really, a lot of people are gonna be stressed out about that shit. Like, they're not gonna want to know what to do, or they're not gonna know how to actually act when something as big as The Last of Us comes out, because it doesn't really matter if Halo
No, I think
or
so.
Gears comes out.
Burritos talked about how I think most developers know when you know put games on PC, they factor in that a lot of those games are going to be at a loss, right? Which, and obviously I think it says pirate at the end, and no, we already mentioned about the piracy thing, but it's also the sense of like the Epic Games, like I said, the Epic Games Store on Steam, right? Why people are choosing Epic Games Store over Steam? That's because Epic Games Store are giving the developers a good percentage back of the money, in which Steam, and this is it, right? This is not even factoring all the bullshit that that Steam are getting. There are loads of different percentages.
Oh, I made it.
Steam's. There are loads of different percentages of the Steam percentage that is split. It's so bad. It's like taxes and VAT. It's like tax, VAT, that sort of shit, but not that specifically. It's, if you read into it, you deep dive into the percentage factors of the Steam part, it's fucked up, stupid as hell. And especially when they have Steam sales as well, and that's even worse. They're basically completely selling these games at a loss, where if I'm a dev, I'll be pissed, and I'll be choosing Epic Game Store as well. Epic Game Store is what they're doing is not anything bad. I'm sorry, it's good what they're doing, because they're making sure the developers are getting paid their money. Majorly, you know, getting good money back. I mean, it's like when he talked about freaking Google Stadia. Listen, any person talk about Google Stadia, just know who the fuck Google are. The amount of things that they've done, whether it is technology or software, the amount of the times that they've gone backwards on it and then completely scrapped the idea.
Look at these graphics, bro. Look at these graphics.
So if anyone thinks Stadia is gonna be lasting around for
like the yellow leave already?
No. No.
Yeah, he did. Oh, you're not.
I'm not saying, man. Before I go off, I know for a fact that anybody that talks about Stadia, just know that shit ain't lasting a whole generation. That honestly, like, if any sort of competition comes out the window, beating Stadia, Google will not even carry on. They'll probably use that cloud-based tech that they're using, the servers that they're using for that streaming cloud device. They'll be using that for something else, wherever it's military usage, wherever it's company usage of a streaming. Yeah, exactly. I don't see them going all out for gaming, even though they've seen the percentages of how much the gaming industry is getting in revenue a year now. Because obviously a lot of people are seeing that. Like Apple have seen it, Google have seen it, including Walmart have seen it. Right? They're thinking about doing the same thing. It's like, understandably, yeah. But that's like somebody saying, "Oh, I'm going to do this and I'm going to stick with it," and then a couple months later, they quit because they find out certain things are not what they seem. Yeah, exactly. I mean, Game Pass is another thing as well. I mean, sure, it's a cheap option, and it is. It's great for people that wanting a low cost and get these games. But when it comes down to Microsoft, how much of that money, or it's a sense of if that service is giving you a loss or profit. And I don't think that thing's giving you a profit. I just don't see that. Especially the games you're putting on there. I think some of the games they put on there already are still at the price range of over in England, at least between £15 or £20, and they're selling obviously majorly at a loss if you put in a Game Pass. But yeah, I don't know, man. God. I mean, apparently they're adding more games on the 13th of April, I think it was. Said they tweeted about it. I don't know what's going to happen there. Again, it's just like, I knew what JayTech was going into. As soon as he said it was a kid, I was like, I wanted to hear this kid. Because we did this last year, I think it was. where JayTech debated shit tons of people, and it was the same thing. Some of them were actually called to debate because they actually understood Jay, they actually agreed on aspects, and when Jay foiled, in a sense, their discussion of trying to turn that, they were like, shit, maybe I'm wrong, and they actually agreed on that. But then with this kid, no, he wasn't budging. And the thing is, when it comes to young minds, there are young minds that are actually have an adult brain, or an adult mentality where okay, maybe he's right, and then there's some which it kind of did at a point, but most of the time he tried to fucking swindle his ways out. So I don't know, man. That's why I would not, if I'm ever going to debate someone, right, I'm sorry, I'm not debating kids like that. If that happened to me, I would have been out of that debate in the first 5 minutes. Because literally no point in staying in there. It'll be like going around in circles, like a dog chasing its own tail, man. Sorry, no. Not about that, man. Fuck that. There's no reason. That's what me about the... No, go ahead, man. No, go ahead. Yep. You have to talk to JayTech about that, because I think Jay got an email a couple of days ago that he's been accepted for it, so he's definitely going to be posting. I mean, obviously, I think there will be allowed people to post stuff, and unlike last time where you have to wait a bit, but I know that JayTech will be posting, if there's any Mario, Sonic, Zelda creations, because he was doing it throughout the whole of the beta, and there were some amazing creations, even some original ones which were really good. It's gonna be good to see that happen. What, Jay? So basically, if you sign up and you go for the I don't know how it works, but basically, I think it's you sign up, you get accepted, and you pre-ordered it, you're able to play it on that day. Let me have a look. Just want to double check this before I say yes anything. Was it early access, wasn't it? Okay. So the 16th of April, that's what it was. It says here, create early access. Create early access for Dream starts this year, and slots are limited. Yes, this is based. So you register for a slot. As soon as you get that slot, I'm guessing you'll get a full set of Dreams creative tools that will enable you to create your own games, music, animated film, art, and more. So also you'll get a chance to share creations. So here we go. Dreams Create Early Access will be priced at $30. Let's just say, I'll go with $30. This Dreams Early Access is strictly limited release to ensure that we have a chance to listen to all of you. So be sure to snag your copy as soon as you can. And this was obviously when it was happening. So. Yeah, I think you have to talk to Jay. I think you have to talk to Jay about it, because I think he's the only one that's getting the early access. But from what I know, he will be able to play it on the 16th of April, because I remember him talking about it. I don't know where he is, but yeah,
I'm here.
It's
a
weird one.
Look at my neck.
Yeah, Jay, we were just talking about the early access of Dreams, because you got an email for it, didn't you?
Yeah, but it's not like, oh, you're confirmed you're going to get it. I still got to buy it.
Yeah, of course, but the thing is, you've secured your position in that factor of early access.
I hope so, yeah.
That's the whole point of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the whole point of it. You've secured it, so now all you got to do is buy it.
So what's on the other?
What's going on, Young C's?
Yeah.
We about to end this podcast, guys. Thank you for staying up late with us and watching me debate another PC fanboy, which is half of a Nintendo fanboy. It's just such a
No,
weird
he was a
mix.
Nintendo fan. Don't say half. He was a Nintendo fan.
I guess so. I've never debated a Nintendo fan before. It's kind of weird. Because I used to be a hardcore Nintendo fan. I still love Nintendo, bro. I play their games,
Me
not just
too.
to tease people, but I really like Mario and all of that stuff, but I'm not willing to buy a brand new
Nintendo,
piece of hardware
Nintendo have
to play
always
those games.
been Nintendo have always been that family console. They've always been that family console, and when it comes down to it, they've always been appreciated at
By
what they
little
bring
kids.
to the
Tiny,
gaming.
tiny kids. Yeah, I know. That's what, bro. Oh my god. Oh my god. I wish I could show you some of the shit I saw on Dreams. I could go live stream for you if you want on Twitch and show the Dreams.
Well, the
I
thing is,
got
you could at the end.
No, I'm talking about I can live stream Share Factory. I got 19 gigabytes of content from the beta, man. I haven't even put out all of the
Well, you
stuff
can
I
share
got.
it though, can't you?
Yeah,
Because
that's what
the
I'm about to go
embargo
do.
lifted.
Yeah, it's just so much, bro. I captured 19 gigabytes of data. So deep, man. So deep.
Yeah. Well, I tried that Battlefield 1, by the way. The disc must be, like, I've tried every other disc in my thing. They're all fine. That's the only one that's being, disc is scratched and dirty. And there's a point where my PlayStation didn't spit that disc out, so I'm not putting that disc back in. I'm throwing that shit in the bin. I don't know what happened with it, but I'm not risking that. Fucking dropping the disc in my console, bro. No fucking way. I don't know what it is. But anyway. Alright, well listen, JTech, everyone else, I'm gonna go to bed. But yeah,
Okay.
I'll be on tomorrow though, Jay,
I'll
alright?
see you guys later, man. Have a good night.
Alright.